Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be replacing my TV with this Vizio P series. I'm going to do a quick unboxing and a setup of the TV. And if you guys have been following my Twitter that I just made for this channel, right there, so follow if you're not. If you have been following, then you know that this happened to my old TV during my move. Look at it. She's dead! Now, I did quite a bit of research, to get the best bang for the buck, as you guys know that watch this channel. So, this is the best bang for the buck TV that I could find. It's 55 inches, so it's only 5 inches smaller than my last TV, the Samsung. I'll do a comparison so you can see the difference. And the HDR on this one is a lot better because of the nit brightness that it has compared to the older one. And the motion rate on this one is 240 hertz, not actually 240, but you get the idea. This one can get 240 and this one does 120. So this one's going to be a lot smoother, a lot better for gameplay. Again, it is a 4K, just like my old one, and the back lighting, as you can see, full array. That means it's the entire back panel can be lit up and dimmed in certain areas. And I think my old one was only around the edge. So let's go into a few things. It has 5 HDMI ports. It has the Ethernet port, a USB port, has your components. It has a TV tuner, which I'm very interested in, because right now my other TV is using one of those digital stick-ons that I did a video on. Check that one out. It also has the Chromecast built into it, so like I guess most TVs nowadays are smart TVs where you can get Netflix and Hulu and all those little apps and stuff that you want. Pretty much any smart TV is going to have those. I have my PS4 Pro, so I'm going to use that because it's going to be hooked up anyway. The cool thing, it is voice compatible if you have a Google Assistant or I'm pretty sure Amazon Alexa works for this too. Super cool. And here's a little bit more specs on the side. One thing I did want to point out that I thought was awesome is it has dual band Wi-Fi. Usually don't have that. In this TV, as far as I'm aware, it only had single band, not dual band. So enough of this, let's open this up. Like a puzzle removing this thing. Okay, take those out. Oh, they're on the front too. Let's do it. I don't know where to put my hands. Now, I really hope this thing isn't broken, because my very first flat screen TV that I got was broken after I opened it up. Let's hope this isn't, or else that'll suck. How's it look? Is it broken? Oh god, it's so beautiful. Okay, let's get this thing set up. Okay, so TV's been unboxed, all cool and whatnot. I cannot find the stand or the remote or the guide or anything. Like, I thought it was possibly like taped to the back, not on the back. And here's a flat thing that just took off. There's nothing in this giant bag. Here's the bottom part. There's like nothing in here. There's nothing in these styrofoam things. This big old piece of styrofoam. There's like nothing in the bottom. These are just like support. The big box over here. I think this is just styrofoam, but this is literally the only place left. So now I have to take out this piece of styrofoam and hope that the rest of the TV's in here. Okay, crisis averted. Look at the way they package this. They taped this on the bottom and folded it around. This thing just fell out. I'm guessing my remote's in here. Accessories. This is in like a little slit on the bottom of the styrofoam, on the bottom of the TV packaging. And then those just fell. Oh, they were stuck in the bottom too. So those are the stands in there. So if you get this TV, don't freak out because it's not coming with other stuff. Dig through the box. And here is a side-by-side, or a one in front of the other, of the 60-inch and the 55-inch. Now, I'm really surprised at the size difference between these two. Okay, so here's the back of my old one. Not exactly the thinnest in the world. And the back of this one, it's probably around the same size. But being right up against each other, you can see what a 5-inch difference actually is. Here are all the things that come with it. I took both the stands out of the package. It comes with remote with batteries, the mounting screws that go for those, the little instruction manual, and the quick setup guide, which is funny because this was at the bottom of the box, so it tells you how to take it out of the box. Hilarious. Anyway, now I'm going to put in the stands. These things are pretty well built. You can hear they are metal. I'm guessing, actually I don't know what I guess. So I'm going to pop these in. I don't know if these go in just one way. That's what it looks like. Here on the bottom, you can see it's the square with the little notch on the side, and that goes along with the square with the little notch on top here. So I'm guessing the only way those can go in is like that. So I've got to position this in some way so I can get these in there. And these are Phillips heads, so Phillips head screwdriver, got to grab that, which I have over there, and put these in. Well, the good thing about these feet is since they're on both sides, it makes this TV extremely stable. The only downside is it is too wide for me to put on my TV stand. Okay, it's temporary, but it works. If you take a look at the bezels on this TV, they are so thin. You can actually see up here where the screen is. There, you can see where the screen is and where the bezel is. And it is so thin. And when you come back here, I'm gonna have to close the blinds once I turn this on. It is so thin around there. This thing's gonna look amazing. If we take a better look on the back, you can see an outline of everything back here. There's some vents over here, and down here are your two speakers, your power cable that runs up there that I have plugged into the back, and all of your cable connections up here. You have, of course, where we put in the stands, 2 screw holes right here. These other ones are just for keeping the panel on, but these two over here, we have simple power, volume up, down, and input. If you want to use these manually, they're nice and big, so you can easily decipher what they are from if you're just reaching back. Back here, we have 3 HDMIs. One of them is an ARC HDMI, just in case you want to use that for a sound bar or something along those lines. I don't have one. You have, of course, your optical, your audio, and your cable antenna, along with Ethernet. And over here on the left-hand side, you have USB, all of your component cables, and then your HDMI. If you do want to mount this, it does have the mounting here on the back with the screws included. So I am going to throw this up on my little makeshift stand and turn this on. Okay, so I got this place as dark as possible to see the TV. So the remote works right out of the box. Now it's going to have us go through the setup process before we actually get into viewing anything. So let's get through the setup process. Inglés. Obviously not a store. Well, you guys don't need to see this. Okay, just put in my password and it's going to go through. And it's set up. That was pretty quick. As you can see, if you have a bright room, you are going to get some reflections. You can see me. So I might have to put up some curtains for this room if I'm going to be watching any sort of movie or playing games or something like that. Even with the blinds all the way, or the blinds all the way closed, I'm going to have to get some kind of curtain. Okay, so now it's going to go through all the updates that it doesn't have from factory. It shouldn't have too many. I know there was one major one that they came out with because the something about the HDR settings weren't right out of the box, so they had one big update to make this TV run a lot better and a lot brighter. And now that it has reset, it's going to go through and do your updates. It looks like already at 20%. It shouldn't take too long. Okay, so I think it is pretty much done with the updates. And I darkened up at least the left side of the room if it looks a little bit darker. The right side with that window is still bright. Just trying to make it a little bit better. So which room is your TV located in so they can spy on you? Living room? Oh, it's for naming. So setting up local channels, I don't have an antenna connected to it, but it's supposed to have a built-in tuner, so I don't know why it would need an antenna. So I'm gonna try anyway. I'm probably gonna fail, but I'm just gonna see if I can pick up any channels. So it looks like the tuner is not the tuner that is built into the TV where you just turn it on, you get signal. Just means this TV does not need a set-top box to receive the signal, but it does need a antenna to do that. So we're going to cancel this and continue on. This thing is very slow. Okay, now it's faster. So register your Vizio TV is basically putting you on the mailing list for some special stuff. I am not going to do that. Okay, so looks like the setup process is done. So let's see, it says I have about half signal, and I'm in the living room. So it's a lot better than my PS3, which is actually closer to my Google Fiber. So it's pretty good when it comes to picking up signal. So once you get into this home screen, or also the little Vizio button on the remote, which is this little Vizio button, probably not going to show, oh, there we go. That button right there, this is what it'll bring you to. And this is basically its little hub. It can show you different apps that you can get into. And if you press up and you go to the top, you can go to movies, TV shows, and you can look through those. Now, most of these are on certain apps or basically pay-per-view, but not pay-per-view. You can pay to view it. There are certain selections like free movies. These you can just click on and it'll play. There's not a whole lot on there though. Obviously nothing new, but you can go through and do that. Now, if you press input on your remote and go to watch free, this is the one that I was talking about that Vizio just came out with. This is their free streaming service, just like Netflix, but it's like a TV and movies. So as you can see right here, I've got Wipeout. Not the best quality.
The rare breed Dan Ryan making his way along the highway to the endangered zone. Oh, massive stack for the breed.
That was spectacular.
Now, if I press the directional buttons, I can get into the little TV guide here. So if I want to watch Monster Garage, then click over that, just like if I were to have a cable service. So if I press up, I can go up channels. Same thing with the channel button. I can go up and down on channels. And if I press the left or right on the remote, then it'll bring me up to this TV guide. Now, I do have to say the lag input between the remote and the TV is pretty bad. So if I'm going to press up, there is quite a bit of lag going through this. And I do have very fast internet, so it is not my internet connection. It's just the setup that Vizio has. So if I just press Netflix on the remote, it actually goes to it fairly quickly. Let's try Amazon. A little bit longer. It's got to think. There it goes. So if you want to go directly to any of the things on the remote, Vudu, Netflix, Amazon, Crackle, iHeartRadio, or whatever XUMO is, you can do it directly from the remote, or you can do it from the hub that it brings you to on the TV. So now I'm going to go into Settings. And another button it has is Pick. This one you can change the type of picture. So it's on Vivid right now. You can do Game, Computer, Standard. Oh, that's really dark. Ew, that looks weird. Calibrated Dark. So all these different viewing things that you can do. I'm going to go in and see what I can do by clicking on the menu button. So if we press the menu button on the remote, we will come up with all the TV settings. Now, first up is Picture. You can go through and you can change which mode you want to put it into, and these are basically the presets. Now I've already gone and changed this, and if you change it, it'll put a little asterisk right there next to Vivid, and that lets you know that you've done some kind of customization on it. You can go through and change the auto brightness and everything associated with it, and if you go into more picture, you can go into more detail. So what type of temperature you want, cool, computer, normal, and back to cool is all the options they have. And then you can change the black detail, either high, medium, low, or off. And they also have clear action, and basically that's just for motion blur, along with these two, the jitter and motion blur above it. game low latency, I turn that on since I am going to be gaming on this. Film mode and gamma. So if we go back, you can go to picture mode edit if you do want to reset the picture mode. Like if you made some kind of mistake and you want to go back to default, just hit reset picture mode and it'll go back to what it was before. You can also do color calibration if you do want to really dive deep into changing that. Then your audio, you can change the speakers if they're automatically switched off. If you have a sound bar, it'll detect it through this. You can also go through if you want it surround sound, leveling, balance, basic stuff. And then down to network, you can reset it up. You can change what you want it on. Timers, if you want it to go to sleep or power off automatically after a certain amount of time. Channels, if you do want to rescan for channels or do something with parental controls, you can go there. Closed captioning, if you want to do something with that. Input settings, you can go through, you can change the name. For HDMI 5, since it's going to be my PlayStation, I just switched it over to game for the name. And I haven't been able to turn on the full UHD color. I'm guessing I have to turn it on and put it into that mode so it recognizes that it can actually use the UHD color. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. You can also hide this from the input list. If you don't want all these HDMIs, you only use one or two of them. And same thing with TV and free watch. There's really no settings with those unless you don't want them visible. And last but not least, you can go to system, besides going into the user manual. You can go into the system, you can check for updates, change the languages. You can go in here and, I guess, control the HDMI using, I really don't know what that means. Power mode, eco, or quick start. Mobile devices, if you do want to hook up your phone for phone mirroring, you can go through and do it here. You can do a full reset, and also the text-to-speech stuff you can do on here. So now I'm going to turn on my PlayStation and see if I can get all the modes that I want to for that. So now that I have my PlayStation on, and I go into settings, sound and screen, video output, the resolution's at automatic. If you go into it, it's 4K. And automatic, the only thing I don't have on automatic is HDR. So if we go into HDR and set it to automatic, it says this TV does not support HDR. I'm thinking it's the input that doesn't support HDR because it hasn't been turned on yet. So we're going to have to grab our remote, go in here and change it. And here we go, I got the HDR working. The problem wasn't a reset. The problem was I had it in the wrong HDMI port. Apparently, only HDMI 1 will allow 4K and HDR. So, now that I have it on HDMI 1, the HDR on my PlayStation was automatically set to automatic. So now it is set on. So both HDRs are on, everything is fully the way it needs to look, and now it's beautiful. It's so bright and vivid. My phone can't even handle it. So now I'm gonna do some tests, probably on YouTube, get some 4K, 60 frames per second, nature footage. And that's what it looks like through my phone. Now, it obviously looks a lot better not being recorded on an S7, but you get the idea. It looks really good. Well, I hope that helped you guys out in your setup and any questions that you might have had hooking it up to your PlayStation or Xbox. So go ahead, like, subscribe this video, and there is way more to come in the coming months. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter so you know all of the stuff that's going to come out and behind the scenes stuff. It's really awesome. Trust me, it's super cool to know what's happening before it happens. And if you haven't, watch that video. And if you haven't watched that video, watch that video. Or watch them both at the same time. And while you're here, subscribe down here. Yeah, watch that stuff. And if you're already subscribed and you've already watched both these videos, then I love you.